Hey everyone, and welcome back. For those of you on Facebook, sorry for the technical glitch. We had a copyright strike on Facebook. It seems like for either one of our mics picking up on some of the movie and whatnot, or either the Public Enemy introduction. So that happened. But what we decided to do is nix the discussion right after the actual film that we'd normally do on the same page or on the same stream, and we decided to have our own discussion uh, stream right now. So, all right, I'm gonna start with Chris because this was your first time seeing the movie,
Yeah.
and it probably hit you a little bit different than it hit Nick. How you feeling?
So when this entire movie, well, for the most part, I just thought it was really this coming of age, like I would say dramedy. I wouldn't call it just straight up comedy, but it definitely had some more real life elements to it that were more dramatic than comedic. At least that's how I interpreted them. But the last portion of this movie, it really it caught me off guard because the movie was slowly building to this moment, and I had no idea what was going to happen. And I get you had ulterior motives when choosing this film because boy, did it seem awfully familiar to what's going on now. Just and like you said, when we were between streams, it was our situations on a way larger scale. But this was when this movie come out, 94, 95,
1989.
89? Jesus.
89.
Um, so, and just to think that in 1989, like that's where we were at, and where we're at today, and I know I've seen it. I guarantee you guys have seen it. It's in the age that we live in, everything is like projected, and now we can show more people what's going on. And I forget who said the quote, but it's like racism isn't like, and I'm paraphrasing, like racism isn't new. It's just it's being recorded and it's being
Yep.
shown to all these different people. And that's exactly what happened to George Floyd, and that's why we're in the position that we are in right now. And the ending of this film just
Will Smith
reminded me
said
of
that,
that.
by the way.
Will Smith, yeah. So it was awfully it was kind of hard to watch, especially with what's going on now. I really like the movie, and I hope more people get to see this thing. And I'm kind of glad I went into it blind because I got to really take in it for what it was as it was going on. The characters were great. It felt super real to me. Spike Lee, he wrote this by himself, right?
If I remember, there might have been a co-writer, but I think this was just no. This was written by just him, written, directed, produced by Spike Lee.
Like this, it felt like I was just watching people live a day, like a regular day in their lives, and then a tragic event happens that really rocks their neighborhood, and it's it's a nice it's a nice, I shouldn't say nice, but it spotlights what's going on now.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that like this isn't new. This isn't something that we were just finding out. This movie came out, geez, 21 years ago. No, 31 years
I was
ago.
about to say 31, but
So we got I'm not good at math, but we gotta more people should see this thing if they haven't seen it.
yeah,
Like I know there are more examples than you said. You mentioned Just Mercy and Selma. They're being like those are other great examples of topics like this. But my God, do the right thing. Seriously, like this movie was nuts. At least the last half hour was nuts.
Nick, how are you feeling after watching it?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's hard to watch things like that happen, you know? And yeah, it exemplified real life. I remember seeing the Time magazine that had all the years on it that racism has never not been prevalent. It's unfortunate. I hate that. And it shouldn't exist right now. And, I have been not intentionally quiet, and I've been sharing things where I can, sharing the donations and stuff. But I just want to say this right now. And maybe this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but maybe it doesn't, but I need to get this message out there. Chris, you're a friend. We just met. Matthew Thomas is my best friend. He's not just a person that I consider a best friend. He's a brother. And without him, we would not be able to be doing this right now. And I swear to fuck, if anything ever happens to him because of you racist fucks out there, I'm serious. Racism, it needs to go. It's not going to go easily, but it needs to go. And I love you guys. You guys are the best. And this movie was extremely powerful, and I'll agree. Great performances, hard to watch at times, especially for me, especially after watching that George Floyd video, you know, and seeing it basically happen before my eyes, history unfortunately repeating itself in a way that even though I guess, I mean, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it on the head. The reason I picked this film first was because of how relevant that quick turn is, that quick turn in life, how the situation escalated over an entire day and the outcome of it. And for anything we do watch along, whether it be a Pride watch along like Milk or something like this, where we're gonna try to arrange watch alongs for Selma and Just Mercy heading out through the rest of the month. It's because it's topical, and I know, yeah, some people hate topical stuff. It is what it is, but you can't just ignore what's going on in the world. And sometimes you need to watch something that forces you to reevaluate how you approach life. And that's part of the reason why this was chosen. So
it's hard to it's hard to watch, and it's hard to talk about, and it's hard to even think about this stuff sometimes. And me, like, for someone like me, like, I haven't had these experiences before, and I haven't been in those positions. But like, my issue is, like, I haven't, like, before all this stuff happened, like, it's just something that I never thought about. And that's a problem in its own right. Just not necessarily ignoring it, but not acknowledging it, which is like, and it's not going on, like, just acting like it's not there and going on with my daily life, even though fully knowing it could happen to someone like me or someone like Matt, or really anybody that I know. That's because racism, it's not just towards Black people, it's for everybody. But we've seen it we've seen it more often, at least in the public eye, amongst African Americans. And it's a different, like, it's a conversation I don't have on a daily basis. It's a conversation that a lot of people really don't worry about. But here we are, like, innocent people having their lives taken from them because of people in power's views on certain people and what they look like. And it's not everyone is like that, and just like, and of course not everyone is like that, but it's all it takes is one. And in this case, we've had way too many ones to just let this slide. And that's why if people are going to want to make a change now, like, it should have happened years ago. Obviously 89 was a problem. Here we are over 30 years later, and it's still an issue. We just got to nip it in the bud and just really start going towards something. And we have been seeing it, but in this film, we obviously didn't get to see what the aftermath was of what's going on, but it just shows us how small it was then, like how many people saw that? 100 people saw that, what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of the last couple of weeks, the millions of people have seen what had happened what happened to George Floyd a couple of weeks ago. Millions of people. If we had social media in 1989, then, or in the 1980s, we probably wouldn't be in this position, or maybe we would. We don't know. But like what Nick said, racism is always going to be a thing. It's always going to be a part of our world. But we can do something to change what's in place to where people don't have to live in constant fear.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's fear of people in power, or is it just the fear of the people around us, whether they have power over us or not. It's something that we can change for the better, so that everyone can feel safe around each other, and it's not a race thing. And this movie proved that to us. That's what I loved about this movie, Do the Right Thing, because it gave us a lot of different perspectives on race and how someone could just snap in an instant. Sal, the pizzeria owner, like, he loved Jade. He loved Mookie's sister, and she was obviously black. Like, he loved her, for whether it was romantically or just as a daughter, whatever that love was. There was something there, and he snapped at one person, or two, arguably, but one person said the wrong thing to them, and that person died at the hands of the police. And that's all it took. And the neighborhood turned on him, and that's exactly what's happening right now. That's all it took, was one person's actions. So we're in this rough spot, and that's why we're doing our part over here at Real Entertainment to do something to help out. And it doesn't matter how much melanin is in your skin, there's always something we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like Nick, you mentioned my point from our show on Sunday, like just listening, retweeting stuff, resharing stuff, just paying attention to what's going on, and making it a thing to where we don't have to worry about our friends. Like, Nick's worried about his friends. Nick's not the only one that feels that way. Matt may be worried about his friends. Jamie may be worried about her friends. I'm worried about my friends. Doesn't matter what color we are. Like, we're all human beings. That's the only race that matters, is the human race. Honestly, at least in my eyes.
Oh,
so
let's
do something about
I was
that.
going to make that point. I mean, at the end of the day, there is no need for that, especially in our chat. If I see any live comments coming in, I don't know if I can take it. You know, the thing is at the end of the day, we are all humans. Nobody is better than each other, but we're all the same. Deep down inside, We're all made up the same exact way. Different, yes, but we're all humans, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah, and I know some people may take that as an all lives matter stance, and that's not the point.
No, it's not the case at all.
The point is that yes, we're all humans, but you shouldn't be attacking others for the color of their skin. So
exactly. And I mean, the all lives matter argument is ridiculous. I saw somebody post on social media, and they said all lives matter, but we're worried about Black Lives Matter right now.
Yes.
So that's the point that people are trying to get at.
It's hard to worry about all lives and say all lives matter when one of them doesn't matter just as much as the others. And there's obviously been a negative bias towards certain
demographics.
Yeah, certain demographics and certain groups of people. And that needs to change. And like I said, not all people do this, but it's the minority, no pun intended, it's the minority that matters, that needs to change. That's the smallest part of that. So all it takes is one person to do something wrong, one person to spread their ideology, one person to say something negative about another group, and that same person could be like, yeah, I believe that. And it spreads like wildfire. I had a conversation with my mother a couple days ago, just talking about what's going on in the world. And I told her I wanted to do something about it. I at least wanted to put my voice out there and just, I'm tired of just watching from the sidelines. Like, I want to do something about this. And not to put her on blast, but she began to cry because she says she worries about me every time I leave, regardless of where I'm going. She's always going to worry about me because of what's going on in the world. My mom should not have to worry about where I'm going because of the color of my skin and what she's seen in the news before. That upsets me because now I'm in this catch-22 where I want to do something,
But you feel
at the
bad
same
about
time,
doing it.
yeah, because now I feel bad about doing it. So, and now I guarantee I'm not the only one feeling this way. That there are a lot of people, that there are a lot of men and women, boys and girls that look just like me and had the same conversations with their parents, with their loved ones. And we shouldn't be having those conversations. So hopefully, once we get the change to where we aren't in a country where black people aren't as discriminated against, and we're all properly equal, then okay. Like, then that's, yes, all lives matter, but black people aren't equal. Black African American people are not as viewed as equals. They're not in this country, and it's a fact, and we've seen that multiple times over the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, however so long it's been. This past couple centuries, really. And movies like Do the Right Thing show that. Granted, it's fictitious, but they convey those messages that all it takes is one person. And to put a spin on it, all it takes is one person to share a donation link. One person to be kind to another person.
One person to educate themselves.
Exactly. One person to educate themselves to where we're all human beings. And just because my skin tone's a little bit darker than yours doesn't mean I'm any lesser. So that you should view me any different.
Just because our skin's darker, just because our hair is nappier, just because we look a certain way, doesn't matter. It's and like I talked about during the stream, the one part, it's a scene I love and hate at the same time because it's so hard to watch. The scene where it's all the different races spitting out all these racial slurs,
and we still hear them.
Yeah,
to this day, over 30 years later. If not, it's even worse.
Right.
And that's something that we could all do as well. Granted, some of us have, like, whether you mean it or you don't, just saying these certain words put them into, like, you bring them to life, and some people will take them and turn them into negative statements. It's all it takes. It doesn't matter what words you're saying, what racial slur you're saying to what race. It's still bad because you're just you saying it makes it a bad thing. I don't care what context or what connotation you're saying it in. It's still bad regardless. And that's something I've been letting slide. I've been getting that I've been doing wrong. And that's something I will change going forward. And it doesn't matter what racial slur it is, whether it's like me, a black male, saying something that people say about black males or what black people say, still not the greatest thing. All it takes is one.
I think that's a good note to leave it on. We raised over $100, which we didn't even know if we'd raised that much to begin with for EJI. So thank you to everyone who donated.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, it shows. It's humbling because people care to watch us, but at the same time, it shows that people care about this subject.
So, But thank you for anyone who watched either of the two streams. I'm sorry it got split on the two streams. I'm going to try to do some editing and re-upload the Facebook watch along. YouTube one is still up, hasn't gotten a copyright strike or anything. So there's that. Twitch is still up. But just to anyone who's watching, anyone who may watch this, I know that these conversations are uncomfortable. But the fact that they're uncomfortable shows that they need to happen. So we as a people need to make sure that this isn't something that makes everyone uncomfortable. It's stuff that should be talked about. It's this. Some people want to say that this isn't a political thing and that it's a racial thing. Sometimes those things are one and the same, and you have to realize that. And when it boils down to it, the way our country has reacted, if you're against the looting, if you're against the rioting, you need to know and you need to watch this film that it's a natural form of anger. It's these people, it's just people trying to get their angers and frustrations out on what they feel a society isn't listening to them when they try to do it peacefully. So, yeah.
We can all do better.
We can all do better.
Everybody can do better. Everyone can do something. And if we really want things to change, like how all four of us do, how all four of us want positive change, then let's do that.
We got to do the right thing.
All of it. We have to do the right thing. Hell yeah, brother.
And on that note, we'll see you guys later. We will be live with Keith Collins on Sunday. And yeah. So have a good night, folks.